Hello friends, Jennifer Pearson here, Thistle Gypsy. So, in my wanderings through the 31 Days of Tarot and checking out people's videos, and people checking out my videos and commenting, I came across Amy at Strength Reversed, and for, I think it's day 5, where the question was, the next 10 years, like in 10 years, where do you want your tarot practice to be, or something like that. And for a response to that particular question, she did a spread originally created by Kellyann Maddox. And I can't remember what the name that she called it. In any case, I thought, heck, I'll give it a try. Even though, you know, it asks some serious questions, like in terms of like being a more effective reader and stuff like that. And currently, I'm not reading for other people. I just don't have time. But still, I thought I would do it. And then on top of that, I saw from, I'm not even sure if it was day 1 that she talked about the mystical cats, that she had received it as a gift from her son, and she wasn't sure if it was a serious deck or a deck that she would use on a regular basis or whatever. And I happened to mention, I don't know if it came up in 31 Days of Tarot or not, but at some point when I had done a tag or other about underrated decks, I thought that the Mystical Cats Tarot is an underrated deck. Kind of discounted because it's kitty based. So I decided to use my Mystical Cats to do this spread about being a tarot reader. So, and I stopped there, and I feel like stopping there. And so I'm done with my shuffling, and so we're just going to go for it. So the first one, and these questions were originally phrased as though you pull one card for these, but these are 2, and I think she said you can pull 2 cards. So I see each one as being an A and a B. So number 1 is current superpower and how to wield it. And so I'm going to do current superpower as 1 card and how to wield it as a 2nd card. So kind of an A and a B. So my current superpower is being a hermit, which is to say I'm actually not terribly involved. But obviously this is a good card too. To me, this means that one of my superpowers is that time that I take for personal insight, which of course helps me have insight into other people's lives, and yeah, you know, doing my own journey kind of a thing. It's my current superpower. I'm not reading for anybody else. How to wield it. I'm not sure if that's a superpower that you wield. Yeah. Again, leave the conflict, leave the competition, just leave it all behind. So those 2 are definitely cards in harmony with one another. So the rest of this becomes a little bit difficult. For example, so here I am being the hermit and not putting up with any BS. And the second question is your ideal querent and where to find them. Well, maybe my ideal querent is pomegranate, or perhaps it's the moon. But we'll see. Here it comes. Oh my God. Kitties, this is the Ten of Wands in this deck. My ideal querent apparently is people who were shocked by a surprise, whose security and expectations have been disrupted. It is a very Tower moment, Ten of Wands. And then where to find them. So this is still 2. This is 2B, is where to find them. Oh, Earth Kitten. So to me, they're just kind of, this would mean like in everyday life, people who have had unpleasant disruptions in everyday life. Yeah, and this also, it looks like a little path, you know, so it's just, to me, it's just saying, you know, if people show up, if they show up on your path, then that's when you would give them, that's my ideal client. Number 3, a current weakness, and then that's A, and then B will be how to improve. So current weakness, you know, this is the kitties just being fascinated by the little rainbows. Yes, this is my current weakness. It's my deck buying that I did over 2019. It's really, really tapering off. But yeah, you know, just kind of indulging in the pretty shiny new decks. So that now I'm at a point where I really need to do this and take some time and sort out some decks and do some thinking about what, you know, what kind of readings I want to do, and given the decks that I have, and what decks should I really not have gotten because they don't serve any purpose or something of that nature. So yeah, I'll have to go through that. So how to improve. The Hanged Man, or the Floating Cat, as it's called here, which is exactly true. So this is really reading, with the exception of querents, which of course I don't have any at the moment. It's really reading my situation very well, because what did I just say? I'm really in a downward slide in terms of deck purchases. Not that I'm not buying them. But when I look at decks, and in fact, I put some on my wish list, and then I looked more closely at them online, and I took them all off. So, yeah. And a lot of the interesting new decks. I'm at the point where if I look online, or I see a flip through, and like there's one card I really don't like in the deck, then, you know, it's a deal breaker. So, in terms of additional purchases, and I just look at them and do I need that? Do I really need that? And 99.99% of the time I'm now saying, no, I don't need that. So that is the Hanged Man, is how I will improve that. Restraint. Number 4. One big change that I can make that would generate more effective readings. Now this I would say could be true of my readings for myself as much as readings for others. Oh my goodness, the Fire King. So what interesting presence of fire here. You know what I'm feeling like this means? I think of this as drama, or, you know, and it's an interesting that it comes up here in making readings more effective. and I think it has to do with, I do a lot of readings on the fly. Something comes into my head, and usually it's a decision I'm trying to make. And so I grab the cards, I'll do it in the kitchen, I'll do it sitting at a desk, I do it here, I do it in bed, whatever. I grab my Rider-Waite-Smith Centennial little in a tin, or I've got another little Rider-Waite-Smith, and I just shuffle the cards and ask the question. And I don't set the scene. I don't make, as some people do, a special place to do it. A lot of the readings I might do here in this space, but this space I do other things, and it's on the cluttery side. It's improving, but it's still right around here. I've got pieces of paper, various things that I have to do on the computer, and so I don't quite take the time to set the scene or create any ritual around the readings. So to me, that's what this King of Fire is kind of about. He looks so lush and so interesting. It's definitely a weakness of mine, that's for sure. Ritual in general is a weakness. Not only, and I would separate that from religion. I'm not a religious person, and I don't think that that's necessarily a problem, but I feel like there is a place for ritual and preparation for state of mind and etc. And so it's interesting that that comes up there. Number 5, which archetype could you channel more? And what by that I assume that they mean incorporate into my reading style maybe more. Oh, this sea kitten. Kind of the polar opposite of the Fire King, the Sea Kitten. So I'm going to have to channel some temperance there, combining of opposites. Yeah, spontaneity was one word that came to mind, but I think it's dreaminess. Actually, I think it's more because, I just said I tend to do it on the fly, and that's spontaneous. Grab the cards. I've got a question. So I feel, what archetype could you channel more? I don't know. Dreaminess is just coming with this. Because again, since now I'm just reading for myself, a lot of it is, again, very practical. Should I do this? Should I do that? And I might look at that practical thing from a couple of different ways, but I don't ask really a lot of dreamy questions. Probably the most intense reading I did within the last 6 months was a series of past life readings that I did, but those aren't dreamy, but they are they're not asking whether I should take the dog on a walk in the neighborhood. It's a very different intensity there. But this to me is kind of lighthearted dreaminess. I have been thinking that I should get out, and now did I even put it back up there? Yep, 365 tarot spreads, and just start to have a little bit more tarot fun. 6A, current potential for growth, and B, how to kickstart it. And this is the last question. So current potential for growth, I'm assuming as a reader. Oh, 10 of Sky. I think I see this as kind of rolling with the punches. This is such a sad, painful card for me to look at. And, you know, even though it's the Ten of Sky, which is the Ten of Swords, I think of it kind of like the Ten of Wands. It's like getting back up. You know, I'm not reading right now because of my work demands and just, I mean, I can't even keep up doing stuff here on YouTube. And yeah, I'm just too tired. So the potential for growth, I suppose, if I think of it as Ten of Swords, you know, you're completely pinned down, would be having to give myself some space to, you know, to not, yeah, you know, I would have to, so to me, this cat is beleaguered. Somebody's been throwing sticks and stones at the cat. Now, I don't feel there's, I mean, this is a dramatic rendering. I don't feel like anybody's been doing that. To me, certainly. But the demands of having a full-time job has, you know, created very limited energy on my part. So there is potential for growth there, but it would be the growth of working less, and then I wouldn't have the money to survive, etc., etc., etc. So I think that potential for growth is not going to happen. Here it says how to kickstart it. Yeah, balance is learning better balance. I don't know. And that, of course, is work-life balance, or work-health balance is what it would amount to. And I just don't see, and I do think about it. I don't see how to accomplish that. When was it? There was, back in December, I think. I think it was back sometime in December, I sat down and, again, I don't know how I was thinking I would find the time to do this, but I asked the tarot a series of questions. I don't remember exactly what they were, but what ended up being indicated, which surprised me, was that if I'm reading for others, I should read for people locally. And it's like, wow, that certainly would mean that I'd have a lot of extra time on my hands, because I don't think there's a demand for it here. So there was some yes/no question that resulted in saying you should focus on doing readings locally. And then I must have asked something along the lines of, well, should I rent a location to do this? And it said yes. And I wish that I could ask. I've never done this, but I feel like, really? You know how you make, really? Another question for the tarot cards. And I suppose how I answer that is I lay out further cards from the deck I've already shuffled, you know. Usually those yes/no type things are 3-card readings, or I might look at what's on the bottom. And when I get an answer that's like, you've got to be kidding me, you know, I usually would just lay out more than the 3 cards and just see where it's going. And I've kind of had that in the back of my mind, but it's like I don't even go. And so I asked it, should I do the reading, or should I rent a space in this town? Because there's a stretch of about 3 towns that are potentials. And so I narrowed it down to the specific town where I should rent a space to do, to do tarot readings in. And I think it was telling me too, I'd have to find that set. I think it was telling me too that I was reading not for individuals but for groups. So not to do one-on-one readings, but to do more like, wedding party type things, or sets to always have a group, like a group of 2 or 3 or more. It was really an interesting results. But I kept it. I was thinking about it, and I said, "Oh, really?" So let me think about that. But I haven't managed to get to that town and even look to see if there are any places that I could rent for a reasonable amount. And then there's the big question of, well, where do I find the time to do it, and etc. So what was it? How to kickstart it was to find that work-life balance. I don't know. All the work-life balance right now is actually going to my dog obedience class. I thought I saw a reversed card, so I'm going back through them, but I don't see it now. So there it is. I don't know what you call it. Reader reflection. I can't remember what she called it as a spread. Reader reflection spread. Reader development spread, something like that. By Kellyann Maddox. And again, brought to me by Amy over at Strength Reversed during the course of her responses to 31 Days of Tarot. All right, everybody. Hope you're having a wonderful January, a wonderful start to 2020. I don't have any complaints myself, and I will see you again soon. Bye-bye.